just want to thank CrokinoleGameBoards.com for sponsoring this Crokinole Happy Hour series. They're a small, family-run operation, well known for their board making, but they always want to contribute back into the Crokinole community. They love doing that, so thank you to them. Please go check them out, CrokinoleGameBoards.com. Top of the line tournament boards and accessories. If you want to get into competitive Crokinole, this is what all the top players use, are these boards right here. They run a great site, absolutely great customer service. It's just not going to get, you're not going to beat it. Very much into the Crokinole community as well. And they also got to go check out their YouTube channel. They have a treasure trove full of information, a lot of tips, skills. They go over the rules. That's Crokinole Game Boards on YouTube, so check them out as well. They also make all the boards for the World Crokinole Championship, so that's the best quality you're going to get. CrokinoleGameBoards.com, handcrafted by players for players. All right, today with me on the Crokinole Happy Hour is a gentleman who is better known for his board making abilities. He's owner and operator of CrokinoleGameBoards.com, otherwise known as Tracey Crokinole Boards. What a lot of people don't know about this guy is that he's also a very accomplished and high-ranking competitive Crokinoler. A few things. He got second in the 2018 World Crokinole Championship, doubles division. He got second at the 2019 U.S. Open doubles, and he's a 2020 World Cup doubles champion, and he's currently ranked 8th in the NCAA standings. So grab a cocktail and a beer, and let's have a chat with Mr. Jeremy Tracey. All right, thanks for joining us at this Crokinole Happy Hour. I want to thank our guest, Jeremy Tracey, for joining us all the way from Ontario, Canada.
Yeah,
so,
buddy.
Jeremy, thanks for joining us today. I know there's not a lot going on with Crokinole. That's why we're doing this type of thing. We can't play with our friends, so we're going to talk with our friends in competitive Crokinole scene. So how you doing?
I'm fantastic, and thanks for having me, man. I didn't know where that was going. I thought you were going to say we can't play with our friends, so I'll talk to you. But
yeah,
no, you brought it around.
the Freudian slip there, you know.
There you go. There you go.
So this is a happy hour, and you know we do ask that our guests drink with us. So what are you drinking while you're hanging out?
In an effort to support local, I have a growler from Rural Roots Brewery, and this one is called Yes Honey Cream Ale. And it's one of my favorites from there. But yeah, so I'm going to get into it myself. I don't know. What are you drinking there, Jake?
Well, I got an Indian Ladder Farm. I went local too, so I got an Indian Ladder Farms brew. It's called Meadowdale Ale Society.
Yep.
It's an IPA, and there's a funny story behind that beer. There's a super exclusive beer club in Voorheesville that's been going on for 30 plus years.
Okay.
And there's only 12 members. You know, the core guys are like half of them are still core guys, but there's only 12. They take turns hosting each month at each other's house, and everyone gets together. And you can invite guests. I've been in a couple of these secret meetings, and one of the members is Dieter from Indian Ladder Farms.
Okay.
And we all went there. He invited us all there, and we actually brewed this beer and canned it, and now he's selling it. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I see that, you know, in your efforts to reach out to the community, you also is that the place where you went and were having that sold your boards to one of those guys there?
We did a Crokinole night at Rural Roots Brewery here a few months ago. I can't think how long ago it was now, but yeah, you may have seen something from there. Roger Lichty is the brewmaster and the founder of Rural Roots. Fantastic guy. So yeah, we occasionally swing by and fill up our growlers with Rural Roots. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, you know, that's one of the things that you and your company, CrokinoleGameBoards.com, I always see you on Facebook, and you're always out at a tavern or a community center, like promoting the game. That's pretty often for you guys, isn't it?
I mean, we try. There's a couple of clubs that we go to. They're very fortunate to have a couple of clubs close by, one in Waterloo and one in St. Jacobs. And then, yeah, when opportunities knock, I absolutely try to get out to the community of going to local churches for the one night. It was the youth once a month. I think they do it once a month. Is the youth center invites in the seniors of the community, and they try to find something they can do together. Well, this one night they decided to do it with Crokinole, so they didn't have enough boards to go around. So yeah, I absolutely went in, took a bunch of boards in for them to play on, and helped them run that. And yeah, it's something I enjoy doing. When opportunities like that come up, I absolutely jump at a chance to share this great game.
Now, Canadians in general, do they see? We're in New York, and we just heard about Crokinole through the internet, YouTube, Crokinole Center. But do most Canadians know what the game is? Like, if you do, or is there some Canadians that like don't know what it is?
I started a petition to have them all exported, but it hasn't gone. No, I'm joking. No, it's quite well known, but it's not as uncommon as you'd think that I run into people around here that are like, Crokinole, what's that? And something that's even more common is I run into people that have played their entire lives, but they don't realize that it started right here in our area, just outside of Tavistock, which is about an hour from where I live, maybe a little less than an hour from where I live. But,
that's I didn't know that. That was right. It's right near. Is that Schneider House Museum tournament? Is that where it started?
Tavistock, where they have the Worlds, that is the story is. And I mean, I'm not sure that it's been documented and that it's 100% accurate, but the first known Crokinole board comes from Sebastopol, which is one side road outside of Tavistock. That's why they do the World Championships in Tavistock every year.
Okay.
Because that's where it started. It was 1876. A wagon wheel builder by the name of Eckhart Wetlaufer built it for his son Adam's 5th birthday. And the original board does hang on the wall at the Schneiderhaus Museum that you mentioned. That's in Kitchener, which is 20, 25 minutes from here. And yeah, there's usually, it should have been a couple of weekends ago, the Schneiderhaus tournament, but that didn't end up happening.
So you said the guy was a wagon wheel maker?
Yeah.
So do you think the board came from one of his old wagon wheels, perhaps? Or
I don't know.
You don't know that much, do you?
Yeah.
You call yourself a Canadian? Jeez, man.
I know, right? Yeah, and we should get around to pouring before we get too much further here, because I also have my extra pint U.S. Open glass.
What other glass would you rather have anyway? You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Man.
So yes, honey, I'm gonna pour a.
Nice, man. Yeah. So show me what that looks like in a glass.
And I do feel that perhaps we should point out, in case anyone's judging us, I don't know when you're going to release this podcast interview, but right now it is Saturday evening at 6:15, so it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere, man.
So hey, if you cheers, yes.
Cheers, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Thanks for tricking me into drinking beer on a Saturday night.
Oh, I didn't have to blow your arm that much. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is cool, man. You know, this is how everyone in our club plays the game. So, you know, we usually have a beer or two there, and you know, while we're playing the game. But yeah. So like the differences in competitive Crokinole to leisure play is that I thought, you could probably like do what we do at our club nights and still hang with the big boys in the NCA. But I went to a few NCA tournaments with high-level Crokinolers, and it's probably not a good idea to partake while you're playing in a tournament. Wouldn't you say?
Not if you want to compete, no. And I've had a number of people around here that when I say, yeah, going to Tavistock playing the Worlds, and they're like, oh, that's just a big drinking fest, isn't it? Well, a couple things. No, there's no drinking there at all. I've had the opportunity to, I sit on a number of the committee meetings for the World Crokinole Championships. As their board builder, I like to just be involved and help out where I can. I helped set up and whatnot last year. But anyway, I went to the meeting the first meeting after the Worlds happened, because they always put out a suggestion box. So they're going through all the suggestions. And I mean, some get taken to heart and some get set aside. But They said that every year there are multiple suggestions of people saying you should have a bar, you should have a bar, you should have a bar. Well, people can put that suggestion in, but I mean, never say never, but my guess is that isn't happen, because right on the website it says the world's biggest family-friendly crokinole tournament.
Yeah.
And it's meant for everybody to come there. So, I mean, that's one reason why there's not going to be alcohol. And the other reason is because anybody who wants to compete, that's just not, one, you're not going to do well if you're drinking, and two, that's just, and I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody having a beer and playing a game of crokinole, but it's not necessarily what it's all about around here. Like we come down there and play with you guys and have a couple of beers while we're playing, and that's not normal. Like one club I go to, we play in a church basement, so there's nothing wrong with it. And when I play with friends or whatever, we'll sip on a beer, but it's not
sure. No, but I mean, I just want people to understand that, like, everyone sees it on YouTube and they're like, oh, I can play like that, with my buddies. We play all the time. And man, like, there is no room for mistakes in that those A pools, those top, 20 or higher ranked players in the NCAA. You're not going to get away with like a mistake because, you had a few, like just one little mental mistake can set you back like 2 points. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, a strategy mistake or a missed shot. And I mean, sometimes, everybody makes mistakes once in a while. So you might get away with one mistake, but you're certainly not going to get away with the second one. That's for sure. And I think it was a little while ago when we were talking, and I said I take a little bit of a razzing because it was at Turtle Island when I played in a semifinal against Andrew Hutchinson, and he murdered me. He wiped me off the board 10. He beat me 10-0, but I mean, each round he just won by a little bit. But in every one of those rounds, I just made one little mistake, and Andrew just would not miss. So, and I mean, most of the people that were poking fun at me were doing it in fun. But if anybody really wanted to make fun of that, I go, okay, then you sit across from Andrew Hutchinson and see how it goes, right? Like, when that man is on, he dials in, and I think you can even hear me in that video saying, like, come on, Hutch, like, can you miss? Like, just miss one. Just miss one, right? And but at that level, and I mean, I do well. I compete. I've been to the top 4 in a few of those, but there's another level. There's another level that I'm still trying to crack to consistently be up there with the Beerlings and Hutchinson and Slater and John Conrad. That like I cracked that top 4 here and there, but it's not as consistent as I'd like to be. So,
I mean, I think you're talking about singles format, right? Because in doubles, you're pretty dominant, man. You won. Yeah. You came in second in the Worlds a few years ago. You came in second in the U.S. Open. You just won a tournament recently, didn't you? And the Patty Fest tournament in Ontario.
Roy Campbell and I won the Patty Fest tournament, and the finals was against Andrew Hutchinson and Ray Beerling, and that was super satisfying because Roy and I have been playing together for quite a while, and we do well. But it was really, really satisfying for him and I to finish strong against such good competition. And because there's times you play really well, and then you get to that. The last 2 years, I think, at the Brucefield, the Ontario doubles championships, that Roy and I have lost in the semifinals. And it's like play well all day, and then the semifinals just come up a little bit short, and that's a little bit frustrating. So to take that one home felt really good. And
that's awesome, man. I mean, well, what I'm saying, you're used to final table pressure, and I think that's like a unique experience. Because I mean, I had never been there yet either, but it's got to be some other type of thing that's there while you're playing. I've been in cash games and like tournaments in my my club that it's there's a lot of pressure because there's either money involved or just like the singles, like a singles tournament here or something. What's that like being at a final table with all the marbles on the line?
It is actually, and I mean, you can say, oh, it's just a game, but I've heard so many people say it. I remember playing in a finals. It was a B pool final against a lady by the name of Christina Campbell at a London tournament a couple years ago, and we were there. It was a race to 9, and she had me. I think she was up 8-4, and she went to shoot, and she stopped, and she looked at me, and she was like, "Why are my hands shaking?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Right? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, logically, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, when you love the game and you want to do well, sometimes, yeah. I've seen lots of players. You can visibly see their hand shaking when they play, and it is something you get used to. But yeah, there's a different level of pressure. But I will say, I don't know if it was the most pressure I've ever felt, but it was the most unusual situation of pressure that I've ever been. And that was your tournament last year, the US Open, when Andrew Hutchinson and I were playing against the Beerlings. But to be surrounded by like 80 Americans, the tunes are cranking, and it was you who started the game and said on an open 20, if they sink the 20, we have a drink, and if they don't, we boo. Well, I mean, I have been in that final table pressure or semifinal pressure, but that was something completely different when you've got 80 people there that are ready. They're either going to have a drink, or they're going to boo. And it was awesome. I loved it. It was like, yeah, I remember we all said after we left, like, NCAA final pressure is never going to feel the same after that experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty. I was trying to put myself in your guys' shoes. I'm like, man, like, there's like, in the background, those walls, there were like tin. So all the sound from everybody was bouncing off that wall and just like immersing you guys into that drunken hollering. And but that was a fun. You guys put on a really good show, man. I know it didn't go the way you wanted it to go, but like, you and Andrew had great shots. Jason and Ray Bierling had great shots, and it was just like an entertaining match, and a lot of people enjoyed that one, man.
Yeah,
just watching it, you know what I mean?
As you say, it didn't go the way we wanted it to. And the other thing for me, I was I wish we could have put on a better show for you guys, because they did kind of railroaded us in the total score. I didn't really feel like they blew us off the board in each round. It was just again, like, they wouldn't miss. Like, Andrew or I would miss one, and then they just wouldn't give an inch. And the Beerlings are both great players on their own, but you put them together on the table, and it amplifies, right?
They are the big red dragon of doubles Crokinole.
Yeah,
you got to slay that dragon, man. I don't know, man. That's tough to do.
I take full blame for that, because I drove them there, right? Like, there were multiple rest stops we stopped at. I could have easily driven away, and just Andrew and I could have driven off into the sunset, and
well, I know you guys were you're saying you're driving down, and one of the first thing Ray said to me, he's like, "Hey, there's no beer at your rest stops on the freeway." I'm like, "Yeah, because it's the freeway. There's no beer there." And he's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a great time." When you guys showed up.
That's one of the things that I really love about the Crokinole community. I mean, like, the four of us drove down there together, and we're competitors. But yeah, I mean, some of these guys on the circuit are just really good friends that people have gotten to know really well and really enjoy. Andrew Hutchinson and I were texting this morning, and just great guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, you play Crokinole, right? The game's fun. Is like it's the best game in the world, right?
Yep.
But also, what you're doing is playing with someone else or multiple people, and that's what really it's about. I think our club, like we win some money, whatever, we buy some drinks, but everyone likes going to the club meetups in their club league to hang out with everybody. There's been so many relationships that were formed through this club, and I'm sure your club and everyone else's club, and now the whole Crokinole community in the world. This game brings people together like I'd never seen before.
Yep.
And I just think it's incredible.
And I mean, even the coming to Voorheesville, I really look forward to it. I was disappointed that the U.S. Open was canceled. one, because of Crokinole, but two, because it's just a great time. And there's so many guys down there that I really enjoy. I mean, we can tease each other a little bit and have some fun. But yeah.
Yeah, no. By the way, it is Upset Chet's birthday today, so we got to have a little toast to our buddy Upset Chet here in the Extra Point, Voorheesville.
Cheers,
Happy
Chet.
birthday, pal.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun. So, I mean, like, you're in competitive Crokinole now. You're known as one of the best board builders in the world, if not the best. What were your origins of the game? Like, how did you, like, was it around when you were younger and then you like went away and then all of a sudden you got back into it? Or was it just there your whole life?
It's so funny. People ask me all the time, like, when did you start playing? And I go, since before I can remember. But even I didn't realize how young I was the first time I sat at a Crokinole board until it was like a week or two ago. My mom is cleaning house and she sends me a picture through text. And even I knew I was young looking at it, but I had to ask her, okay, what was the date? When did this happen? And it turns out I was like 19 months old when my grandfather got a Crokinole board. And my grandfather's passed now. He passed a few years ago, but even like right up until like he was in his 90s and we would go visit and he would be down on the floor. It'd be all he could do to get down there, but he would be down on the floor playing with the kids. That was just Grampy all the time. Right. So I don't know how he get introduced to the game. But yeah, he get introduced to Crokinole. So there I was at 19 months old and he's right down on the floor with us, with me and my brother and my sister. And so that's when I started. And because I remember it was a while ago, my mom sent me a picture of my first Crokinole board. I was 7 years old and they got me my own Crokinole board for Christmas. So by then I was really getting into it. But it was like everybody, like a lot of people knew Crokinole, but not many people actually played it until I was probably early 20s. And then a guy that I played hockey with, and him and I would go back to his place after playing hockey and we would sit and shoot Crokinole for 2 or 3 hours afterwards. But he was like the only one that I played with. And then we moved to Ontario. And again, there was one guy that I played with, good family friends of ours, Graham Gessler, and him and I would sit, and again, we'd play for hours, but I didn't really play with anybody else until I started playing hockey and I met Roy Campbell. And Roy and I just kind of hit it off right from the very first time we met. Like I walked in and I think I ended up sitting beside him in the dressing room and we've been buddies ever since. But I had been playing with this group for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, couple of months. And somebody asked him, like, how did you make out at the Crokinole tournament on the weekend? I'm like, Crokinole tournament? What are you talking about? Anyway, I got chatting, and the more we talked, the more excited I got. And then he invited me to the St. Jacobs Club. And it took a while.
She wrote?
Yeah, it took a while. It was a little bit, I was pretty busy at the time, so it took a while. But as soon as I got there once, I don't miss. Like, somebody's got to be on their deathbed or I got to be out of the country before I'm going to miss Crokinole. It just doesn't happen. So, I blame Roy for getting me hooked on Crokinole. But
okay.
Yeah.
So that's when the competitive Crokinole started, when you met Roy on the hockey team, right?
Yeah, and honestly, like what happened when we talked about it, and then Elaine got me a Willard board because I had a board, but it was a crappy, $100 board. I still remember. I wish we still had it actually. It had plastic pegs that if you hit the pegs too hard, it would actually not, like, we'd have to crawl across the floor, find the peg, and stick it back in. It was that quality of a board. So Elaine and my boys got together and got me a Willard board for Christmas. And then as soon as I got the Willard board, Roy came over to play. And this was before I had gone to the club. And him and I were playing. And I remember to this day, he hit a follow through 20. And it was a fair piece back. So it was a great shot. And he hits this follow through 20 and he just picked the 20 out like it was another day at the office and plops it in the 20 cup. And my chin is on the floor. And I'm like, did you do that on purpose? And he's like, yeah, it's called a follow through 20. And I'm like, okay, I've got to learn how to do that. And to this day, it's one of my favorite shots. I I mean, I love follow through 20s.
No, dude, that's a very satisfying feeling when you mean to do it and you make contact and then it goes in, man.
Yeah, and to hit a big one, it just especially at a pivotal time, I love it. I mean, that's like the grand slam or a slam dunk, or I don't know what it compares to in other sports, but I mean, it's in my mind, it's the shot. It's just an incredible shot. And I've even had people say how deflating it is when their opponent hits. Yeah. I remember an opponent saying, like, man, when you hit one of those big follow through 20s, it just takes the wind out of my sails. Like, it's
yeah, because they believe that you didn't mean to do that.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'll call it, right? Like,
I can't make one in our league without someone telling me that you didn't mean to do that. I'm like, yeah, I did, but
yep.
It usually doesn't fall in. But no, I remember playing when I was at Belleville, and then we were in the A pool, and I was playing Jason Bierling. I had one set up. It was a long one. It was like right on the 15 line, and I tried for it. I knew I wasn't going to make it, so I really just tried my best and hope that it would maybe have followed past the hole or something. And it went in, and I got so excited. Like, it was a meaningless 20, but I got up, like I basically stand up like this, and I couldn't even help myself, man. He's like, yeah, that was a nice shot.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, man. So that's cool. What's that?
So, I mean, that's one of the things. You're playing against a competitor, but the satisfaction of hitting a shot like that, like you said, it didn't matter. Like, maybe it was meaningless. It was late in the round. Maybe it didn't affect the outcome, but it's just super satisfying to have that.
Yeah, to execute the shot is like, it's very hard to do, especially how, the further away it is. But
yeah,
it's an advanced move, that's for sure. So that's you got into competitive. And then how'd you now you apprenticed with Willard, right, to take over Willard Crokinole boards and then now they're your boards. Where did you meet Willard, and how did you start apprenticing with him?
I mean, Willard had a reputation just because, I mean, he was known as one of the best boards in the world, and he lives like a 3-minute drive from here. So, I mean, everybody in town knows Willard, but I actually didn't know him until I caught wind that he was he wanted to retire. Like, I mean, he loves Crokinole, he loved building boards, but I think, if he hears me, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, Willard, but I believe he's 74 now. So, like, I can tell you, this can be tiring when you're pumping out a lot of boards. I mean, there's it can be some long days and a lot of work. I went and met with him, and that was the first time we had met in person, was when I went over to meet with him, and I did a little bit of work with him. And it's my understanding that there were some other people that had wanted to apprentice with him, and but for whatever reason, him and I just hit it off really well. And he decided that I was the guy that he wanted to train. I try to be humble while I say this, but I feel like it was a combination of him seeing what I was able to do as a craftsman, and a combination of just getting a feel for how I would conduct myself as a business owner, and that I would treat people right. It was really important to him to continue the legacy of quality boards. And I mean, I could have been the best board builder in the world, but if he thought I was just out for a quick buck and that I didn't care about the community and the game, I don't think he would have given me the time of day. One of the things I love about Will, man, that he is a straight shooter. He'll tell you. When I was learning and apprenticing with him, a compliment meant a lot, because if something I did didn't measure up, I heard about it.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned. That's how I really appreciate that. And I'm not sure that everyone may roll with that, but for me, it was like, hit me straight. And he'd be like, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm like, don't be sorry. You know what I mean? But he was just a straight shooter. And still to this day, I was talking with him yesterday. I sometimes, to say that I have so much respect and gratitude and appreciation, I don't really feel like it does it justice.
Yeah.
Because like what he did for us to help us get going and support, yeah, you kind of not really sure what to do to thank the guy. You know what I mean? Other than, and I guess one of the ways I try to thank him is to just do the best job I can. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Well, your standard, it sounds like you took over his like standards too, because like any little imperfection, you're not putting that board out there. That's correct, right? I mean, I know you said that before, and everything has to be perfect on your boards for it to pass quality inspection to get to their owners, right?
One of the things I like to say is, one of the things that guides us is, I don't want to sell a board that I wouldn't want to play on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got to be a high quality board, or I don't want it out there because it literally has our name on it. And now Nolan, our youngest son, is working with me, and not so much now. I mean, he's very well trained and settled in now. But in the early stages, he would say, like, "Is this good enough?" And I'd say, "Well, would you play on it?" Because he hates playing on a crappy board. Like anything that's subpar, he doesn't even want to play. So
like no point of doing it, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, when he would ask, like, what about this? And I'd say, well, do you want to play on it? Like, would you want to play on that board? And go, okay, I get it. And it's kind of a guiding principle for us as we're working in the shop, is that, yeah, it's got to be something we want to play on. So there's been a couple that have been, a few that have been tossed. Yeah.
And burned, right?
Yes. Yeah. And when I say tossed, thrown might be a better word. There's something that get thrown.
So gratifying, though. It must have some kind of nice stress release for you.
Yeah, you got to let it out somewhere, right?
So like in terms of CrokinoleGameBoards.com, what's the goal? Is there not a mass production goal, but like, are you trying? Is there a next step? I know you just upgraded your facilities. You got a whole new shop now, and is there a goal beyond that to be much bigger than that, or do you think you're good for right now?
That's a great question. Quality is first and foremost, and I mean, would I like to grow this? Yes, because the interest in the game is growing. And, I truly believe that we have some of the best boards out there. So I want to do everything I can to, at this point, like, we're back ordered several weeks. So I'd like to catch up on that. But at the same time, I don't want orders to slow down. I want the orders to keep coming in. So, we have done a lot since we moved in. Like you said, we were working, actually where I'm sitting right now used to be part of our shop. It was in the basement of the house. And when the business really took off, it was just not functional anymore. I was so sick. This is my basement. So I was so sick of running up and down the stairs of this house. So we moved into a 1,600 square foot shop. So it just, between having more space and just more experience, and Nolan is working more with us now because he's not in school at all right now, but he was only as of January, he was only in school half time. He's been working a good 25 hours a week for us. And so our efficiencies have improved. And Elaine, she's a trooper. She's been in the shop with us too, which takes a lot of pressure. So it's allowed us to up our production. I'd like to up it more because the demand is there while still maintaining the quality. Like, the quality is, it's non-negotiable. Where it goes from here, yeah, I don't know. Because there's a quality of life thing that comes in there too, right? Like,
sure.
I don't want to spend 80 or 100 hours a week in my shop. Yeah. So I enjoy the work, but I want time to go to Crokinole tournaments too. So
let me give you a situation here. Every man's got his price, right? Yeah. So let's say, like, guy from our club, Matt, his brother suggested this. I thought, that could be a possibility. That like a place like, are you familiar with LL Bean? they're a clothing outlet store with all this other hiking gear or EMS, and you know about those companies.
EMS. What do you mean by EMS?
That's the company. They're
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
backpacks, outdoor jackets. Same thing with LL Bean. They're more like a clothing store, but more like for they have better materials, and it's
Yep.
so that would be a good let's say a big chain like that said, hey, I want to sell Crokinole boards, and this guy Jeremy Tracey makes the best board. Once if LL Bean nationally, big chain store came to you and say, hey, we want to partner with you. You have to make all our boards for us, and you would have to make I don't know how many thousands of boards. Would you take that? I know every man has his price depending on what is paid, but would you oversee an operation if you had to quasi mass produce the boards, or would you say politely decline so you can keep your quality standards right underneath your thumb?
I think at this point it would have to be option B. I don't know how I would handle that and maintain the quality.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I mean, I think it's ridiculous to just go no when something like that comes up. But I don't know. I mean, and we're totally spitballing here. I don't know if something like that were to happen. There may be another division of my company startup. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where mass produce, and I oversee the mass production. But in mass production, the quality is not going to be the same. So, but I'd almost have to do a different name because I don't want to put our reputation drives our business. So, yeah. I don't mind money, but it's not my motivator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think, again, never say never. I don't think you're ever going to see me driving around in a Hummer or a Lamborghini. Those things just don't motivate me. So yeah,
your Crokinole mobile looks pretty sick though. It barely fits in my tiny garage, that's for sure.
Let's just be clear. That's a 2014 Dodge Caravan that has my Crokinole Game Boards logo plastered all over it.
It looks nice, man. It's you when it's coming down the road.
Yeah. It's funny because I had that done, and then as soon as brought it home, Garrett, our middle son, he's about to turn 20, so I brought it home deckled. And he goes to Elaine and goes, why did you let Dad do that? It's it does kind of, it kind of keeps a roof over our heads. So maybe you should suck it up. And if you don't want to drive it, you don't have to. But now when he asks to borrow the van, I'll say, the rule, you have to park it somewhere high vis. I want that thing that's a billboard, right?
Handicap spots, in front of get it really close to the storefront as you can.
Yeah.
Dude,
he works at a grocery store, so it was a month or two ago. I took it down and I dropped it off. It wasn't nice weather, so Reed and I went down, dropped the van off to him, and I just didn't pass him the keys. So the van's out there, and he's like, "Where is it parked?" I said, "Don't worry, you'll find it." So I parked it right by the entrance, so everybody would see the logo as they drive in and out. But
you should put some sirens on that thing or something.
I mean, I'd like to say legal, right?
Right. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the laws are up there, but
I don't think you're allowed to put sirens and flashing lights in your vehicle if you're not someone important.
All right. How about hydraulics on the back wheel, or in the front wheel, so it bounces?
Okay.
All right. Rap videos,
You want some spinner rims and
come on, man. You're
some
Crokinole boards, man. You got to have some pizzazz on that thing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So what was Budapest like? You went there for the World Cup of Crokinole.
That was an experience. That was, I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm grateful that this Crokinole business has allowed for us, but that's one of them. I'm not sure, without this being our business, I don't think I ever could have justified that trip. Even though, I mean, it wasn't like I was over there promoting our boards. It was over there in Budapest, Hungary. But that was a cool experience. Although we were busy enough at the time, I flew in on Friday, played Crokinole on Saturday, Sunday, and flew in on Monday. Like, it was pretty much a whirlwind trip. But I mean, again, it was connecting with another 70 or 80 Crokinole players. And what was really cool was I think there were people there from, and don't, I may be a little bit off, but I think they said there were people there from 14 different countries. So I really enjoyed that, meeting guys from Tasmania and France, and like so many, there were people there that like there was a few of us there that English was our only language. So there were a few guys that knew multiple languages that spent their weekend running around helping facilitate conversations. And everyone was just so nice about it. Like, it just, yeah, it was just a really, really awesome experience. And the first day was doubles, the second day was singles. And the first day I got to play doubles, and Brian Cook was my partner. Well, he is a 4-time world champion from Tavistock, but now lives in the UK. So I hadn't met him before I went, because he had moved to the UK, or at least moved out of playing in NCAA tournaments before I started. So him and I had never met. Although I was really looking forward, one, because he's a great player, and two, because everybody who knew him spoke so highly of him that I thought, what a great guy to spend the day with. So I met him on the Saturday morning, and fortunately him and I won the doubles championships over there, which was a lot of fun.
World champions, man.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then to play against him on the next day, I played against him. Unfortunately, I lost to him in the semifinals, so I ended up placing 4th. But yeah, I think he beat me 10-6 in the semifinal. But I gave him a run, which I was pretty satisfied with, to square off with a 4-time world champion and yeah, give him a run. But yeah, just a great experience. Met some really cool people, and yeah, anytime you get to travel and see a different part of the world and meet people with different backgrounds, and yeah, it was awesome.
Did you meet any other board makers over there?
The guy's name, and I may mispronounce it, Zolt Reimer, SZOLT, and the last name is Reimer, RIMAR. He made all of the boards that we played on in that tournament, and fantastic guy. Really, really liked him. He was the guy who he drove me back to the airport on Monday, and he took me for a bit of a tour of the place. Super guy, and really fascinating. He's a boxing instructor, as well as he works with kids a lot. So I think he runs a kids Crokinole club as well. So just a super guy. And I really enjoyed his boards. Their boards are finished different, and they don't use a wax like we use. They use it's a potato starch powder.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, he was the only board builder there that I met. And I think he's the only independent board builder of any size over there. I'm sure there's other people that build boards, but yeah, there's a company, I believe, Woodestic over there that makes a lot of boards, but I don't know. I think they're they make them on a bigger scale. So I've never played on a Woodestic board, so I can't speak to the quality.
Okay. Nice, man. Yeah, that must have been awesome. I'm sure the community over there is just as niche and friendly as this community over here in North America.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And I mean, they called it the World Cup of Crokinole. And I remember somebody asked me when I was there, like, oh, how do the people in Canada feel about them saying World Cup when you guys are the World Championship? And I'm like, it's just a word, right? Like, and I mean, they're using it they're promoting it. They're promoting the game. They generated so much interest and brought people from all these different countries. And they ran a great tournament. It was well run and competitive, and I thought it was fantastic. I would love to see some of them come over to the Worlds and play. Yeah, and we may see that at some point. And I mean, once we get this no traveling foolishness out of the way, I shouldn't say foolishness, situation out of the way, I look forward to going back to Budapest and playing again. I think it'd be a lot of fun to go over and yeah, and And
So if
it's easy to go to.
everything's cleared with this coronavirus, would you try to go again this year, or is it like an every other year type of deal, or?
Oh no! If this lifts and they were doing it again in September or October, if I could make it work, I would go for sure. Yeah, I'd go again this year if it happened. But I remember when they were organizing it before, and he was chatting to people on Facebook, and he asked me like, "Will you come over?" And I'm like, "I will not miss an NCAA tournament for it. Like the NCAA, every tournament counts towards your standings. So I'm like, there's no way yeah. If it conflicts with an NCAA tournament, count me out. But as long as it doesn't, I would absolutely go again. When I go again, not if, because yeah, it's going to happen at some point. I'd like to be better organized so that I can take a longer trip, take a week or two, take Elaine with me and explore some of Europe, because I think it'd be pretty cool. But
yeah, and Crokinole would bring you there. That's the best part.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right, so you're a competitive guy. Is there any other, besides Crokinole and hockey, is there any other competitive interest that you do?
Not consistently, no. Like we've been to a couple of the PAX events lately. We went to PAX Unplugged and PAX East, big board game and gaming conventions, and people would ask me like different games. And I like other games, but my favorite games are always dexterity games. So washer toss or cornhole, or something that I know you're into, and I'd love to hear more about it, is the disc golf.
Don't you mean button golf? Wouldn't you call it button golf?
Button golf?
Yeah, because you call it disc buttons, don't you?
Oh.
Crokinole?
Okay. So button golf. Yeah. Tell me about button golf.
No, dude, you would like it, man. It's just like you get into the weeds with it, too. There's different discs, different weighted discs, different ways you throw certain discs to go around. And it's not just like an open field course. Most of these courses are in the woods.
Yep.
And you have to navigate your disc through the natural topography of the land, and you have to use strategy like, hey, do I take this lane to get to the basket, or do I like lay up to conserve it, because you're playing 18, 27, 36 holes. And I know you would like it. So I don't know. I was looking at when I went up there last year to Tavistock, and I was just looking around the place we were staying. I'm like, I was searching for any disc golf courses, and there's some not near you. There's I think there's one in Woodstock. That's like what? That's probably like 45 to an hour away from you, right?
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah.
And who's driving?
I mean, if you look around, Google Earth and stuff, and type in disc golf courses, there's probably some around you.
I think somebody said there's one in Waterloo, which would be like 15 or 20 minutes from here.
Yeah.
But, and a lot of them are free, aren't they? Like the parks that you just take your disc or buy.
Yeah, like 95% of the courses are on public or state land.
Okay.
And so they're usually parks, and you don't have to pay to go on them. We have here, we had the best course in New York, like 25 minutes away from Voorheesville. We have one up at Thatcher Park. We have one in Schenectady. They're all like within 20 miles of each other, and they're like top-notch courses, But
Schenectady, I think that's the place when Elaine and I drove into Voorheesville on our way to Boston, and we had to ask you, all right, here's roughly how it was spelled. How do you say that? It's Schenectady.
Yeah, there's a lot of letters in that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, that was how you discovered Crokinole, wasn't it? Weren't you watching disc golf videos?
Yeah, I was watching tournaments, and you know how they seed your YouTube views on what you search for, disc golf. Crokinoles, there's discs in them. So I'm like, and I was watching. It started me off on Carom,
Okay.
And I was watching it, I'm like, oh, that looks like a nice game, I think I can get into that. It'd be nice. You can sit there and play with your friends, not to move around as much. And then, so this silly game with these pegs, and there was one hole in the middle, and I click on that one, and it must have been a Crokinole Center video, and two guys were just shooting the 20s. I'm like, man, this game looks so dumb. And I'm like, I was getting mad, and I'm like, why the hell would someone play this game? And then I went over to my buddy's house. I'm like, hey, we're watching football at my buddy's house. And he goes, and I was talking about the carom game. He goes, oh, I got a carom board. And he puts it down. And it was a carom board that had, we always saw them in summer camp. They had checkers on it. You got the, all these different backgammon, whatever games on there. I'm like, oh, there's that game with the screws on it. And you got to flick it in the. So we played with that with these like little plastic rings.
Yep.
And I fell in love with that game. I'm like, this game's awesome. We weren't playing it right, of course, but like it was just all over from there. Then I'm like researching it, and then like I bought a board from on eBay because I don't know what I was doing, and I got a Ferrari board, Feri. And when the board came, it was a nice board, and it did have a deeper center hole. What we're used to now, the 7 mil. And I thought that was normal, but I had to screw in my own pegs, and they were flat. They were flathead. It was nerve-wracking screwing them in myself on a finished board. So I had to do that, and I had to put the brass over it, and they gave you the rubber to put over that. But there was a shallow flathead screw, and I had my drill, and I missed it, and I dinged the board up because I don't know what the hell you know what I mean? I'm like, and one of the posts went in a little bit crooked, but anyway, we used that board here. That's what started it off for the Extra Pint Crokinole Club. And now Seth from bowling has that board. I sold it.
Okay.
So, but he's ready for Crokinole Game Board any day now.
Sometime there's going to be the Voorheesville version of Schneiderhaus Museum.
Yeah.
And that your original board, is going to be up on the wall. You're going to have your own display there. So I look forward to that.
Well, yeah, you come down and play. And I just saw you guys did. I saw that Crokinole Center today released the Elite 8 tournament. The 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. That was fun to watch, man. That's something that we would do in a heartbeat. But that looked like a lot of fun, and you won that little exhibition tournament, didn't you?
Yeah, that was well, I don't know if we should give the ending away because I think he's going to release a bunch of the videos, but yeah, there were three well, we did 1v1 v1 v1, and then we did a doubles round robin where every game you have a different partner. And then what we did for our final set of games was we did a full round robin of singles, but both players, your first shot, you actually took the disc and placed it wherever you wanted on the board.
That's cool.
And then you each shot your last 7 shots. So basically the idea was let's just play with some different formats. And it turned out that Nathan Walsh and I ended up tied in points at the end. So then we just did a one-off challenge, the one where I did a video about it where you set the 8 buttons outside the pegs and see who can get the highest score. Like each took a turn to see who can get the highest score. Do you remember seeing that drill where you take the 8 buttons and put them touching the pegs just outside?
Yeah. That was we call it the Tracey challenge.
Yeah. So that was the challenge we used to break the tie between Nathan and I.
Oh, okay.
And but then it turned out later when Nathan was going through all the scorecards, somebody had messed up and him and I actually weren't tied. I had won. So I won the challenge that him and I did. But then as it turned out with and I think he wrote about that in his blog post, but it was just a fantastic way. The 8 of us got together and played Crokinole for the day. And I think we did it between Christmas and New Year's. And it was just so much fun to another excuse to get together with the guys and shoot some Crokinole.
That's awesome, man.
And it was funny because you talk about how having a beer, like there was I think Jason hosted it, and well, I know Jason hosted it, but I think he had a cooler of beer there or something. And I know I had taken some beers in with me, and but nobody would have one. Like it was toward the end of the day, I think a couple of us sipped on one beer because I mean we're playing silly Crokinole, 4-player singles, and then this one where you actually place the buttons on there. But everybody, you want to compete.
You wanted to win that one.
Well, yeah, and if you get into 2 or 3 or 4 beer, you're not coming home. You're not coming home champion. That's
hey,
for
speak
sure.
for yourself, pal.
Okay, all right.
that's where I shine.
Okay.
No, there is too much though. There is a limit where you should, if you're really competing for at that level.
There's a tipping point. I mean, for some people, a couple of beer would probably help them because I've heard people compare it to darts because like a couple, like one or two, just kind of loosens you up, takes the edge off. But then, yeah.
Well, you know the rule in golf, right? Ball golf, like regular golf. For your putting, you 2 drinks is like I'm not kidding. Like when I was a caddy, when I was a young kid,
Yeah.
and I was caddying for these guys, they always said like that there's a 2-drink rule for your putting because it loosens you up. You're not like you're not over adjusting or under adjusting. But if you go over the 2-drink, you're not gonna putt well.
Yep.
If you're under, you're not gonna putt well either. So that was the rule.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And yeah. I was talking earlier about the World Championships in Tavistock and how they won't have beer there. And I mean, I think we're sitting here having a beer now. I have nothing against it, and I think it's really good to be able to go out and have a good time without having to have a beer. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get it. And
Yeah.
here's another thing too that could come into play if you're serving alcohol there. People are like, if some people might have too much, and that might affect the other player that you're playing against because they're like they're fumbling around or they're losing concentration, or you're screwing the other guy over out of points.
Yep.
So like you got to keep it moving, keep it. So that's a good. Yeah.
And I mean, when you go to Worlds, they have the roped off area. You're not even allowed to take your bottle of water.
Nope.
And it makes sense. I mean, one, for the boards and the buttons and everything, but two, you get that many people and we're timed matches. You can't have a puddle of water that somebody's slipping in.
Nope. No,
Yeah.
it's got to be a well-oiled machine to deal with that many people, man.
Yeah. And it is, man. And one of the cool things there is so many of the committee members, they're not even Crokinole players. They just love that Tavistock gets to host this, and they put all this time and energy into running, and they don't even play. Like, and it's
I met a gentleman. He was one of the head refs there.
Yeah.
And Nick Osmore and I went to that barbecue that was like next door at the firehouse, and we ended up sending with him. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't really play, and I just like doing this." And I'm like, "Wow, man, that's awesome. Thank you very much." And he was such a nice guy, and he had kids at home. He devoted his whole day just to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think that gray-haired fella.
He had glasses, a little bigger guy. He's usually on Crokinole Center. I see him on the.
You've seen him in the videos there. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was the ref of the finals this year.
Okay, I think Paul is the guy you're talking about, but
okay.
Yeah,
super nice guy, man.
Yeah.
As is everybody up there, but
yeah, yep. No, it's a great group of people, no question. So,
nice, man.
But
dude, I had so much fun doing this. I'm going to get the live stream going. I will do that. And we're going to have you, if you want, to come back on for that. So maybe
absolutely.
We get a little more interaction with people. I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
So, and, maybe once the series builds up a little bit, we'll get some more viewers during the lives. And you're going to be on air. And we can have multiple people on here at the same time. And we'll have a great chat, some more beers.
The other thing I'd like to do at some point, we don't have to be in a hurry for it, but at some point I'd like to flip this on you, and I'd like to be the host and interview you and hear more about the history. I mean, you and I have talked about it before, how Extra Pint started, and just some of your ideas around building a club, because man, like what you've done down there is amazing, and running the tournament, like you were sanctioned this year, so you were good to go. And I mean, I love that, like the vision you have to just keep taking it bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you and I have talked about that, and that's awesome. I just love the mindset around it and the things that you've done, and like your guys's, even the videos from your guys' summer party, just the different things you do to create community around Crokinole. I think it would be fantastic to have a more in-depth chat about that.
Yeah, dude, that'd be great. I won't get into it that much, but like, I have a great group of guys here too. It's kind of like a perfect storm type of deal, but I don't know. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And, you guys up there in the NCA, you guys are so like welcoming too as a community. Cause like, like I said before, you guys are like the standard for competitive crokinole. So like everyone is looking to you, but you're all, you guys are very inviting too. So it's awesome, man. It's just, it's a great time. And, again, here's this beautiful game bringing everybody together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I love hearing that the community is welcoming, because that's what it should be. I'd be upset if you felt anything other than that, because this I want everybody to be able to come together and feel comfortable and welcome playing crokinole. So for sure.
Absolutely, man. Dude, thank you so much for joining us. And we're gonna do this again real soon, man. So
that's awesome, man.
Keep building the boards and keep in touch. Thanks again, man.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Make it a great night.
All right. Later.
Sure.